The zombies challenge I'm about to show you today is the most ridiculous, poorly designed thing I think I've ever done in Call of Duty. And I've done some stupid stuff in Call of Duty. I've done some of the camo grinds. I've got Serpentine from DMZ, but this is worse. So for context, in MWZ, or Modern Warfare Zombies, the current version of Zombies, there's only one new thing in the Season 4 Reloaded update, and that's something called Unstable Rifts. I think the idea behind them was that lots of people, me included, were complaining about how long the cooldowns were on the fun things that you can craft, so they decided to add a new feature where if you manage to complete it, it is a challenge, but if you manage to complete it, you'd be able to reset all of your cooldowns. So if you were the sort of person that liked playing zombies a lot, you could play with all of the fun new things and then do this, reset all of your cooldowns and just keep on going. As an added bonus, they even decided to throw in the world's ugliest camo as a reward if you manage to finish it. But it is not worth it. It's not even close to being worth it. I suffered through completing all 5 waves of the Unstable Rift in the game, so you don't have to. You can just enjoy this video and see just how terrible it really is. To unlock the Unstable Rift, you can do it without any kind of prep if you really wanted to. It would be stupid, but you can do it. All you need to do is, in any game of MWZ, you need to go around the map and find 3 different stone obelisks. Now, these have a set number of spawns. A few different people have started making maps showing where they are. I'm kind of waiting for Warzone TAC map just to release an update showing where all of the possible spawns are. But they can spawn in any of these different locations randomly. And right now, Unstable Rifts are the only new thing to do in zombies, so everybody's looking for them. If you manage to find one of these stone obelisks, it'll have a symbol near the bottom of it, and that shows you an ammo type you need to have on your gun. Put that ammo type on your gun, interact with the obelisk, and then it basically works like a soul box. A bunch of zombies will spawn, there's a circle on the ground, kill the zombies within the circle, and eventually it will be complete and a reward rift will open. As a side note, as far as I can tell, the rewards are kind of crap from this. They're just similar to if you did any contract in MWZ. But the special thing happens when 3 of these obelisks have been completed. And they don't have to be completed by you, just whenever anybody has completed the 3rd obelisk on that map, so you don't really know when this is going to happen because there's not an easy way to tell when anyone else is doing an obelisk, then the Unstable Rift will appear, and the first team to get to it get to go inside. Oh, and lots of the obelisks spawn in the kind of tier 2 areas, but the Unstable Rifts always seem to spawn in the tier 3 areas. Lots of you, I'm sure, can already see a problem here. So you could spend a load of time going around the map trying to find these stone obelisks, completing the challenges, completing the soul boxes, and then when you complete the 3rd one, another team who have just been sitting around in tier 3 could just immediately go to the Unstable Rift, because it appears on everybody's map, it's super bright, it's super obvious, anyone could just go over there and take it from you. I'm sure there's lots of people who are doing these Unstable Rifts who have no idea how to do the stone obelisks even. They're just getting all their gear together, going into tier 3 and waiting for someone else to complete the challenges, and then they take the rift. And when they've taken the rift, you then need to do another 3 stone obelisks in order to spawn another one. The first time we did this, we did 3, and then somebody stole the first rift, and then it took us basically until the end of the game, so until the end of the 45 minutes you get for a round of MWZ, before we managed to complete the 3rd obelisk and open up another rift to get inside. Admittedly, it's a bit quicker now because people know where more of the obelisks are, but still, that is unbelievably annoying. People have developed strategies to make sure you get the Unstable Rift, so people come in with a Scorcher cannon so they can immediately get up in the air, flying above the tier 3 zone, ready to drop on the rift as soon as it opened. You do that in a squad, so if 2 of you are completing the last stone obelisk, one person will probably be getting ready to jump up in the air and then go grab that rift. If you're solo, just like, good luck really? It's entirely possible that you could spend a load of cooldowns to start completing these to try and get into a rift, because some of them are in tier 3, so you need to have things like decent pack-a-punch level, decent item rarity, all of that stuff, and then just in your game have all the rifts stolen from you, and so never get them, and therefore you've just wasted all of your cooldowns. That's entirely possible, and that sucks. But if you do get into a rift, you have to hope the game doesn't crash. I've heard of lots of people, it just crashes while it's loading. Even if it doesn't crash when it's loading, it kind of looks like it's going to crash when it's loading, because it does lots of weird things. It goes to lots of very dark screens where it looks like nothing's happening for a while. But luckily for me, it's worked every time so far. And then it dumps you into Al Mazrah. You're in Al Bagra Fortress, and you're in a tiny little circle in Al Bagra Fortress. And this is the entire new rift. There's no new location, there's no new enemies or anything like that. You're just in a tiny little circle in the courtyard of Al Bagra. And now you have to try and survive 5 rounds of zombies attacking you. And the zombies are hard. The zombies are like tier 3 zombies. And in the first round, there's a bunch of zombies. And then there's going to be a bunch of zombies with some mimics thrown in. And then there'll be some manglers thrown in as well. And then there's a bunch of kind of boss versions of disciples, manglers, mimics. And it just gets insanely hard because you don't really have many places to go to. You just have to kind of run around. The game does try to help you out a little bit. So it gives you all of the perks. It sets your weapon to max rarity, max pack-a-punch. It also gives you golden armor plates, so your armor plates will regenerate, kind of slowly, but they will regenerate. And it gives you that special mags of holding, or whatever they're called, where you never have to reload your gun. So you'll just keep on using the ammunition that's in your backpack. But even with all of this, it's pretty hard. And then at the end of each wave, you get a reward rift, and inside a reward rift is crap. It's just like a kill streak and then maybe some like Molotovs or something. Occasionally you get a self-revive, and that's kind of nice, but that's it. It's just utterly terrible. Now, the first time we did this rift, we didn't really know what to expect. So I'd taken in an SMG, and it was, I wouldn't say impossible. I'm sure there'll be someone who will show that you can do this with basically any weapon. There'll be some incredible zombies player who can do this with whatever they take in. But for me, with an SMG, this was basically impossible. You just couldn't do enough damage, especially once the manglers started coming in order to keep up with the waves. You don't have very much space. All of the zombies are kind of pushing you in. You can get pushed up against the wall very, very easily. If you need to do anything like going in your backpack to try and find a kill streak or anything, you're just going to die. It is very, very difficult. So on our first attempt, we just died. That was it. We just didn't have much of a chance. We went in there, we ran around for a while, and then we died. And that means you lose everything you took to get in there. Because it's so difficult, and because the setup takes so long, we decided a second time not to take any chances. So we did a little bit of research, and we had someone from chat called BBK who was there to help us. And we basically found out that there is a super overpowered weapon combination in zombies. Turns out there's a special schematic that you can get called the dead wire detonators. It adds like an electric effect to any explosives that you have. So you can take in a grenade launcher, these dead wire detonators, and then you'll be incredibly powerful. Of course, we didn't have the dead wire detonators schematic, so we spent a bit of time because I read a thing saying, oh, you can go into the Dark Ether Rift at E4, and then from there you can get it as a reward from some contract. So we went into the game, used a bunch of cooldowns to make ourselves powerful, went to E4, and found out that we don't actually have that rift unlocked because that was from a previous season where, for whatever reason, we didn't do it in that season. So we can't do that. To do that, we'd have to go back and replay a story mission to get some items, to do a special quest, to open up a normal version of the rift, go in there, get an ancient sigil or elder sigil, whatever they're called, and then go back into the elder sigil version to complete some really hard contracts with a possibility of maybe being able to get the dead wire detonators or the schematic for the dead wire detonators. Yeah, we didn't want to do that. That was going to take an insane amount of time, and we'd already spent a long time and a bunch of cooldowns. Didn't want to have to spend more. Luckily, BBK offered to join, and he basically had a bunch of dead wire detonators that he just dropped for us. He's just been storing them up because he's one of those people that when he's playing, he just logs on every now and then to craft all of his things, so he's got them spare in his inventory. So he gave us some. That was all good. We could go into the game with dead wire detonators, the grenade launcher, level 3 pack-a-punch, level 3 tools to try and upgrade everything to gold straight away. We were really, really set. And bear in mind, you know, although people will say you don't need to spend many cooldowns because when you go into the unstable rift, oh, it upgrades everything for you already. But you do need to already be going around in tier 3 in order to get the unstable rift. You have to go complete these challenges at the obelisks. Some of them are in tier 2, but a lot of them will be in tier 3. So it's kind of important that you already have all of that stuff. And you don't want to waste time in game getting all of the ether that you need, or essence, or whatever it's called, in order to level up your guns or go around searching for tools, because you need to be getting the obelisks before the other teams get it all sorted. So you kind of have to spend all of your cooldowns in order to get in here. I'd also heartily recommend using an Ether Blade case, because the Ether Blade is super powerful. It one-shot zombies. Regardless of how strong they are, it will still one-shot them as long as they're not specialists. And I mean, you can take a dog bone in. We tried it, but it didn't actually last very long, so I wouldn't bother with that. But Ether Blade is definitely super useful, as well as having some perks like PhD flopper so you don't blow yourself up with the grenade launcher. So the second time we got into the unstable rift, we had everything sorted. We managed to get in there first try this time. No one managed to steal the rift. It didn't crash when we were loading in, which was awesome. And so now we could do the strategy. Because this is so hard, essentially there is the strategy that works. Again, I'm sure there will be some people who manage to do it another way, but when you set the difficulty of something this high, essentially everyone's going to find the path of least resistance, the easiest way to do it. And that's just for all of you to have grenade launchers with dead wire detonators. And then I'll leave you a little bit of gameplay of what it looks like to do it with the grenade launcher and dead wire detonators. Oh, and you can also use a scorcher to kind of get on this little bit of a roof so the zombies can't get to you as easily. Oh, nice. And then this is 10 minutes later. Can't even see the boss now. Then 10 minutes later again. Yeah, the mimics are tough. Alright, there's Disciple. Disciple's dead now. And then 10 minutes later again. So this is half an hour after that first bit of gameplay you saw. Oh, damn it, I can't see. Right, I've got mine. There you go. You're probably going to have to repay the favor. Yep. Okay, I can't do it now. This is mind-numbingly boring. There's so little variation in it. Yes, it does get harder because you get more specialist zombies and then you get boss zombies coming in. But essentially using this strategy, all you're doing is firing the grenade launcher over and over and over again. Sometimes you throw an Ether Blade, sometimes you might use the Scorcher Cannon to get on the top, but you're just pretty much shooting absolutely mindlessly for over half an hour. And this is the successful strategy. This is like the best way to do this right now, the easiest way to do this right now. I kind of feel like, for us at least, this was the only way that we could have done this right now. And that just seems ridiculous. I know that a lot of stuff in MWZ seems to have been kind of put on a back burner. Treyarch went off to go work on Black Ops 6, and whoever's been working on MWZ, whether it's like High Moon Studios or Beanox or Sledgehammer or whoever's doing it, isn't devoting that many resources to it. So in some ways we should just be thankful for whatever content we get. But this could have been so much better. I've got no idea why, rather than having it as this crazy unstable rift thing where teams have to fight over it in the main game in order to be able to get into it, why isn't it just a playlist within zombies? Just load straight into this with zombies. It could give you all of the perks, give you all of the upgrades, etc. And you could just have a go at it, just messing around, trying out different weapons, seeing what you can do. That would at least be interesting, because if I didn't have a 45-minute setup period in order to do it, if I didn't have to waste a load of cooldowns just to try and go into it, then at least I could go in there and be like, oh, I fancy just running around and trying to do something really difficult in zombies. That would at least be something. But no, not at all. This is just a very, very long process to get in here, and then you do something incredibly boring for 30 minutes, and all you get at the end is that camo, and you get a thing saying that you've reduced all of your cooldowns by 72 hours, essentially resetting every cooldown. And let me remind you, this camo is absolutely horrible. I'm kind of glad I've got it because it's fun having one that stands out and it looks so different to everything else, but it is so ugly. It looks super low resolution. The animation speed is super fast, so it's just unbelievably distracting and bright. I'm probably going to use it in Warzone because it's funny, but yeah, it's definitely not like a well-designed camo, let's say. So I hope you enjoyed me going through that so you don't have to. If you did, don't forget to leave a like on the video, subscribe, turn your notifications on, and I'll see you for the next one. Goodbye.